and welcome to another edition of Let the Scribe Speak. I am your host, Pastor Gale Koy-George, and today I will be having some special guests who will be visiting us on the platform today, and we're going to be talking about our special book, My Pink Stilitoes. And they're going to be joining me from different states in the United States of America. And I'm your host, joining you here from the city of The Hague in the Netherlands in Europe. And we're going to be going through this book together. So I want you to just get a friend, invite somebody, and let them know we're going to be talking about My Pink Stilitoes today on the program, on the broadcast. And it's going to be a great day. So if it's warm where you are, get a cup of lemonade. If it is really hot, get a cup of tea or get a cup of coffee and come on in. I'll give you an opportunity to go ahead and share while I do so before I bring in my guest today. Because I want you to understand that in the book, My Pink Stilitoes, there are 17 different authors who have penned and put together this book in order to make it something meaningful. We are not all going to be in the program today. We're just four. I'm going to be the host, and then I've got Taylor with me. I've got Dawn, and I've got Mommy Carling, and we're going to be going through our stories and taking you through our journeys of victory, triumphs that is being told in the book. So stay tuned, get somebody, invite a friend, and I'll be back with you in just a moment. I'm back. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Let the Scribe Speak. And we are here today, and we're going to be taking you through a journey through our stories in no order, in the very, very special book, My Pink Stilitoes. So I'm going to bring up my guest today, who's going to be with us. I'm going to bring up Dawn and Taylor and Mommy Carlin. You might be wondering why I call her Mommy Carlin. You'll hear the story later. Dawn, it's great to have you again on Let the Scribe Speak. You're welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
And also Mommy Carlin. It's great to have you. You're always ready to go. Amen. One. And Dawn, Taylor, I'll send it to you once. Taylor, it's the first time you're going to be joining us on this very special moment. You're welcome as well to be a part of us. Amen. I'm just going to allow you to go ahead and share. While I do the same. Because we need to talk about the book today. We've been missing Loretta. I think she's on her honeymoon. She's on her honeymoon today still. So, okay, you can't hear, the song is low. Okay. Can you hear now?
I can
Is it
hear.
good now?
I can hear.
Okay, perfect. All right. Okay. I guess she's still on her honeymoon because it was our anniversary yesterday, and they were gone. So we wouldn't have her today with us, but I guess wherever she is, she might just be popping in. So I'm going to take a moment and share, because I didn't get a chance to do so, while we get ourselves together. And while Mommy's coming in, I want to give each and every one of us an opportunity to say who we are and begin to introduce ourselves. So I'm going to let Taylor go first. Taylor, you can just go ahead.
Okay,
Tell us
I'll
who
go
you
first.
are. Yes.
I'm Taylor. I coach. I'm a business coach. I'm a mom. I'm a big sister. I'm a daughter. I'm a granddaughter. I'm a friend. I'm a leader in my church. So that's who I am.
For what Are you hearing me? Yeah,
I
I'm
can
saying
hear
you
you
can go
now.
ahead and tell us what you do.
So I'm a business coach, so I assist people with getting unstuck and becoming productive. So my job is to help them to develop a strategic plan and learn how to implement it so that they can really, really accomplish those goals.
Okay. All right. And that's Taylor Johnson. Taylor is one of our contributors to the book Pink Stilitoes. And you're going to hear from her very soon, where she will take us through our journey of the chapter that she has written. So now I'm going to ask Dawn to introduce herself to us, to our listeners. I'm
Hi,
sure.
I'm Dawn Earhart Whitty. I'm in Los Angeles right now, so it's 6:09 for me a.m. I am a mom first and foremost. I founded the Desire to Inspire Foundation and the Beeline products, and I'm an author and a speaker, and I just love getting to touch people's lives in love and kindness. So that's kind of what I love to do, and that's what I get to do.
Okay. Thank you, Dawn. And now I'll go to Mommy Carlin Rice. I left Mommy for the last because Mommy's going to be representing our daughter as well, who is the visionary behind this entire project of my Pink Stilitoes. And I mean, we can tell the story. I can ask Taylor to tell the story and Dawn to tell the story, but who other can tell the story and make a better representation for Loretta than our mom herself. So Mom, that's why I left you for last. So I would just invite you to just introduce yourself so that those that are listening around the world will know who you are.
To me,
Mom, you have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, she's muted.
Yes, go ahead, Mom.
Oh,
We're not hearing you, Mom. Maybe your volume is a little low.
oh, looks like she's muted again.
You mute yourself, Mom. Okay. But why are we not hearing her?
I don't know.
Strange. Okay, Mom, the best thing might do to go out and then come back in, but make sure that your volume is on. Okay? Yes, like that. Oh, she's gone. All right. Okay. Thank you all for joining us today. Let me see who's online. Mom is having some little difficulty. Bianca, great. Bianca, see you online. Sonia, it's nice to have you. Yes, on today. Today we're going to be speaking to a few of the contributors and scribes from this special book, My Pink Stilitoes. We're going to be talking about it. Mom is gone again. But let me just start with Dawn. When we look through the book, Dawn, and we chapter your chapter, want you to tell us about the title of your chapter and why is it so?
it's there's feedback. Can you hear the feedback?
Yeah, but I'm getting a feedback. Yeah.
Oh, okay. You know what? It's gone. So my chapter, it's really funny because Larita had asked me to be in the project. I said yes because anything Larita asks me, I always say yes to because I just think she's an amazing woman. And so she sent me a text message saying, "Oh, I just want to let you know that the first draft is due tomorrow," and I didn't even know what I was writing about. So it just so happened to be that Garrison, my son, my honorary son, he was visiting that weekend, and I knew what I was going to write about because when he was here, he explained to me how much something I did when he was 6 years old, and he's now 32. how much that of an impact that made in his life. And I never knew it until, he came back 27 years later. So I wrote about that experience, and I never knew it until,
Go ahead.
oh, it was,
I'm just
that
Yeah,
was
I'm
for
getting
you.
your feedback. Yeah, but it's okay now.
Yeah. So anyway, oh boy, here we go. I think somebody else's turn has to happen because this is not going to stop.
Okay. Oh boy. Oh boy. And maybe you need a headphone. If you get a headphone, then it would eliminate anything else. All right. Just go. Do you have a headphone? Yeah, if you put one on, it will just eliminate the sound. So we won't hear him barking at all. All right, so we're gonna wait. While we're waiting for Don to come back to tell us a story, um, I do appreciate you joining us online today, and I do appreciate you just going ahead and share with somebody, get them online, and let them come to be a part of Let the Scribe Speak today. Um, I'm hoping that today will be one of the most phenomenal days of your life where you would experience somebody else's story and be blessed by it. So, welcome again back, Dawn. So, just go ahead and share with us what you were about to say.
Oh, so anyway, Garrison came, visited, and this story, it was there. I knew exactly what I needed to write about. I wanted to share the experience that I had, not only doing what I did back in the day that happened, but all these years later, for him to come and tell me what an impact that made in his life and how that changed him as a little 6-year-old boy growing up. It was just like so profound, and I knew that that's exactly what I needed to write about. And
Of course.
it was a scary time in my life when the earthquake happened because I wanted to move. It was the most devastating earthquake I had been in since I had lived in California, and it was just being able to help somebody else when I was afraid helped me not be afraid anymore.
Amen. Great. What a tremendous story that you will tell us about the survival of somebody else, helping somebody else, and then you're being blessed by helping somebody else. So I think Mom has been stuck, and I just want to ask Taylor, with your chapter, why that chapter, or why the name of the chapter most of all?
So my chapter is the metamorphosis, and it's about how God literally wants to take some of the most traumatic experiences in your life and completely transform you. All things are lessons, and although they hurt and they are painful, they shape you into exactly who God wants you to be. So
Yeah,
that's what my chapter's about.
yeah, yeah, metamorphosis. Your chapter is about metamorphosis, and then when we look at Dawn's chapter, I just had it.
Hers is.
Dawn, yeah, she was talking. She said, "Everlasting aftershock of an earthquake. My testimony to the extraordinary power of love and kindness." And when you look at the chapter that I had written, I was asking, "Where are the scars?" And I was talking about those people, women who were forgotten because they were sexually molested, raped, and left for dead. And it might not be physical, it might be spiritual, emotional. And I'm saying where they were, and we need to go get them from their hiding place. Mom is not here. I think she got somebody upstanding somewhere. Maybe she's gonna come back. But as we go through today's program, I want to just go now to you, Taylor. When we talk about a metamorphosis, you spoke about a metamorphosis. Can you tell us what it means?
So
What it
metamorphosis.
means?
So a metamorphosis is the process that a caterpillar goes through to become a butterfly. And so just kind of digging into that process about, when it's a baby, it's born, all it does is eat, and then it gets into this chrysalis, and this chrysalis is a dark place, and in that chrysalis, the caterpillar is completely broken down into like goo, literally. And then it's built back up into a butterfly. And the most significant part about the journey through a metamorphosis is how you have to break out. A caterpillar literally has to break out on its own. If any outside force comes in to assist it won't be able to fly. So it's very important, that the caterpillar uses everything on the inside of itself, pushes it into its wings and then breaks out of the chrysalis, and therefore it makes its wings strong. So that's the process.
Okay, but when you're talking about metamorphosis,
Uh-huh.
the caterpillar, the mother, and then you make it a young girl. My question to you, Taylor, when we talk about metamorphosis in regards to our lives, how have you seen, as we've written in this chapter, related to you and your process of transformation to where you are now?
Yeah, so my mother was found in a dumpster and I never met my dad. So, just from the beginning and kind of growing up in foster care.
Again, my mom.
Oh, my mom, she was found in a dumpster, and I never met my dad. I grew up in foster care. I was a teen mom. So I had so many things against me that screamed that I would not be successful, that I would, be a statistic. And so those hurtful times in my life, just growing up and even in my early adult years, really caused me to fight. And, I was just optimistic and I blossomed. And instead of, kind of being out and homeless and struggling and things like that, I'm thriving. So that's where the metamorphosis takes place.
Okay, but as I read the chapter, something meaningful that you said, just in the third paragraph of your chapter, you said, as a young girl, only in the fourth grade, I give my life over to God. I close my eyes, cry out to God. She gives me. I remember opening my eyes and I felt light than air. The Spirit of God was close to me, and I knew that I had been changed. The dedication to God was a very serious one for me, and I knew that what God had planned for me was very special. How does that relate to your metamorphosis? To your metamorphosis?
Yes, so I was just living, I was just simply existing. I was honestly living in a homeless shelter at the time with my mom. But once I gave my life over to God, it gave my life purpose. I felt alive. I felt like, that God had an amazing plan for me. And so my mindset shifted concerning my life. I knew that God would use me. I knew that God would call me to inspire people. I didn't know how or, what that looked like because, of course, I was in the fourth grade. But I just became alive on the inside. I just filled up with purpose. So that's where that metamorphosis took place in the fourth grade.
The fourth grade.
The fourth grade.
I want to go over to Dawn. Because Dawn has got a story of being of great assistance to somebody. Not really knowing the impact that it created. And then years after, this person turns up on your doorstep. I'm going to tell you the story. I want to take you back to that moment when they were telling you how meaningful your contribution to their lives was. What was happening at that moment? Unmute.
Woo, sorry. Barking is all done. Can you say that again? I'm sorry, Gale.
No, I'm saying that your story is about you being of a blessing to somebody, not knowing the tremendous impact that what you did, your gratitude and kindness did to the person. But then the person over the years just turned up on your doorstep and you began to tell you the impact of your contribution to their lives. I want to take you back to that moment when you were actually hearing that. Let us have that experience, what you felt. Were you crying? Were you overwhelmed? Were you speechless? What was happening to you? Give us that scenario at that moment when you learned that what you did was more than what you thought you did?
Oh gosh. Well, definitely I was crying. You know, I could cry about it now because I think that we do things in people's lives all the time and we don't always know, you know, the impact that they've made. And when somebody gets to come back and tell you what an action you've done, oh no, we lost Gale.
I'm there. Don't worry about me.
There we go. When somebody tells you what a profound impact that you've made in their life, you know, that there's nothing better than that. So yeah, definitely. I was crying. I still cry about it because, and there's so much love between us. I mean, I feel like I did this kindness for a family that I didn't know. And today I have I have more family, you know, so I just got bonus family. But, you know, to know that one of my favorite quotes is by Ralph Waldo Emerson. And he says, you know, to know that even one life has breathed easier because you've existed, that is to have succeeded. And I always think that, you know, that is my definition of success. As many lives as I can touch in love and kindness, that is how I make my impact on this world. So it is a blessing to me to be able to be a blessing to somebody else.
It's a blessing to you to be able to be a blessing to somebody else. And I want to take you now. Let's go to your chapter. You have got the second chapter in the book, The Everlasting Aftershock of an Earthquake. The everlasting aftershock of an earthquake. Take us to that. Take us to that episode in your life of you being in the middle of that earthquake. And then having to survive, and not only for yourself, but to be a blessing to others.
Yeah, well, it happened in 1994. My daughters were little, and I moved to California in 1987. You know, and I've felt a few earthquakes before, but this one was the biggest one I've been in. You know, and I turned on the news, and you saw the 10 freeway had collapsed. You know, there was somebody stuck in a parking garage. They were showing images of apartments, you know, like completely demolished. People had lost their homes. And that did not happen to us. We were very lucky. And there we go. Bentley.
Wow, he's angry with you. I don't know what you did, and maybe you didn't give him any food. But we will come back to you, Dawn. Don't worry, so that you can tell us and go through, because I want you to tell us about that story about the earthquake. Maybe by that time we will give him a dose of numb his mouth. Maybe then he would. But
He's my little bird dog. I'm sorry, but you know he's got my back.
Okay, then you can go ahead. Is he quiet now? Okay, go ahead. Yeah. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead quickly.
Okay, so anyway, it was just, you know, seeing all that devastation, I was terrified. I literally was telling my former husband at the time, I was like, you know, I want to move. I want to move. I don't want to live here anymore. And the only way I was able to get past that fear was to help somebody else. And then once I was able to do that, then I was okay. So it was really about doing something, taking an action step to get past the thing that was scaring me so much. And it turned out to be the most beautiful thing, you know, I've done in my life. One of the most beautiful things.
Dawn, you made a statement. You said, remember, there is no such thing as a small act of kindness. Every act creates a ripple with no logical end. What is your token on that?
You know, we don't always know what something we've done has done for somebody else. I mean, somebody could be having a very bad day, and if we're at the grocery store or the bank, just being kind to them, helping them, you know, with their package or giving them a compliment, you just never know what that ripple effect can have on somebody's life. And, you know, they may turn around and do something for somebody else. And that's what Garrison taught me when he told me, when he came, he said, you know, because of you, I wanted to help other people, because as a 6-year-old boy, I knew what that felt like for me and my family. And, you know, to know that because of my kindness, he then extended kindnesses the rest of his life. That is like an extraordinary thing to be able to do in someone's life. And it is a ripple, it keeps extending out.
I'm going to ask you this, Dawn. What is it what was this kindness that you extended that created a ripple effect? Could you tell us about that? Take us back to that time when you did that extension of kindness in the middle of an earthquake to this particular family.
So a few days after the earthquake, on the news, you kept seeing, the photos, the news footage of all the devastation. And I just thought, how can I help someone? And I don't have a big house. It was this house actually. So I'm still here. But we were only using one bedroom because my girls were little. And so I said, I've got 2 bedrooms in my home. And if somebody is homeless right now because of this earthquake, I have a home. So I called FEMA and I just said, I have 2 bedrooms in my house. If there's a family that needs a place to stay, I have it. And about a week later, I got a phone call from Marilyn, and that's Garrison's mom. And she said she had 2 little boys and they had lost their apartment, or, everything was destroyed, couldn't go back and get any of their belongings, and they needed a place to stay. So in February, the earthquake happened in January. In early February, they moved in. So a mother, a father, 2 little boys in my house with me and my husband and my 2 little girls, my 3 dogs and a bunch of cats. And they stayed here until April. So they lived with us for a few months. And I got to be part of these little boys' lives. I remember taking them out for ice cream. It was just a really beautiful, we became family. And one of the reasons I think I love Africa so much, and that's where I do a lot of my work, is there is that notion of family. You just extend that what I have, you have. If I have a house, you have a house. And so that's what happened. And then they got their new house, they moved out, and we kept in touch, off and on over the years. But this last August was when I got to see Garrison as a full grown, he was a 6-year-old boy and now he's like taller than me. And, he's a full grown adult man with his own child. And I'm so proud of him. And, like what a blessing again, to have more family in your life, just because, I needed to help somebody. I needed to help somebody.
I'm going to ask you something and it might help somebody. What did you have to give up in order to be a help, a blessing? What did you have to give up in that? It's like we're having a pandemic now. For you, that was a pandemic, an earthquake in your city. What did you have to give up from your comfort zone to be a blessing to that family and bring them in your home?
Well, I don't necessarily feel like I gave up anything, but to have a family that you do not know, you've never met before, come live in your home, that is, a little bit, you give up a little bit of privacy. But, what I gained, Marilyn and I would cook together. She would teach me, different recipes, and we would sit in the kitchen and we would talk. And, so there was a little bit of, giving up a little bit of privacy maybe, but at the end, everything that I gained was far greater than anything I gave up.
Everything that you gained was far more than you give up. You know why I asked you that question, Dawn? Because many times we tend to think that when an opportunity falls on our doorstep to be a blessing or to be of assistance, that we have to give up something that will cause us not to want to be a blessing. We start weighing the cost. We start weighing the cost. And bless you, Mom. Thank you for coming back. We start weighing the cost and thinking, should I give this up? Do they worth it? Is it going to be worth it? Are they criminals? You start weighing all these things, before you actually be a blessing. But I want to ask you this now. What was it? What was it? You said the word that you had to help. But what was it? What was that gut thing that made you wanted to sacrifice your privacy? I deliberately asked you that question in order that you can help a family. What was it?
I believe that we're here for each other. And if I have a home and somebody needs a home, you've got a home. whether it is a stray dog or a stray cat or a foster child or, a family. If I have something and I see somebody suffering, something deep in me like propels me to do something about it. Because if we all did a little something for the next person, the world would be a better place. And I want to be that person always.
Dawn, thank you very much. Thank you for your story. When I read a story, it literally brings like I want to cry, so I have to like just hold it back because it shows tremendous sacrifice. That you decided with your family to stay in one room in order to give up your other room for another family, a stranger that you don't know. And then what make it more meaningful is when you said this person came back after many years to actually say thank you and to express to you the deep heart gratitude of what your assistant meant to them. And I think that this chapter, if we can just rip it out, we can just rip out this chapter and then lose the pages, into every home that we can find around the world. People begin to understand and accept it, then they would know that the world would be a better place. So I just want to say, Dawn, thank you. Thank you for having the courage to write the perfect story, to share with others so that people can know you can help even a stranger in the most desperate time when you feel you should be by yourself. you know, open your home and help them. Thank you once again. And I want to just go, Mommy, I'm going to come to you, Justin, but I want to go to Taylor because Taylor's story, if you're joining us, we are talking about my Pink Stilitoes. And this is a book you got to get because what makes it so beautiful is that you've got 17 people who have wrote a chapter each in this book. And when you listen to these stories are you cry and then you say, and then you laugh, and then you say, oh, I gotta take a run. Oh, I gotta get something to eat. Then you come back, you cry again, then you laugh. Everything in this book. I've never read a book with so much ups and downs, so much laughter and so much tears in my life. And I did a lot of reading. So it's a book. We're going to put up the information just now. You can get it from Dawn. You can get it from Carlin. You can get it from Taylor as well and from myself. So they're going to put up the information before we leave the broadcast so that you can just click on one of them and just purchase a copy of this book. And as well, you can get it from Amazon. I want to go to you, Taylor, because your story, when I read your story, actually I didn't want to read it online. I didn't want to get a Kindle copy. I wanted to get a real copy, and they came in last night. All these books were just coming in, 3 different parcels. And then I opened and I started reading, and I sat on the ground. I sat on the ground next to the box and I started reading, and I was there for like a couple of hours. I couldn't believe all these stories. It's kind of juicy. But Don, you said something. You said, my mom was found in a dumpster. I want you to explain to us, as a child, what that meant to you, what that did to you, and how do you look back now and see that in your process of metamorphosis? And why I'm asking her that, because our title of our chapter is called The Metamorphosis. So that's why I'm taking her back to that place of transformation.
So I found out fairly young that my mom was found in a dumpster, and I didn't really know what to think of it at first. I kind of just stored it in my bank, and just, oh wow, that happened, because I have a grandmother. I have a grandmother who adopted my mom, who I love so much. Like, I love my grandmother so much, and you couldn't tell me differently, there was this funny story. I called her up one time. I think I was like 16 or 17. And I was like, Grandma, I know that my mom probably was birthed through someone else in the family, and you probably just adopted her. And, it was just so funny. We had these little family conspiracies or whatever. But I didn't think much of it. And then, just growing up, I dealt with a lot of rejection and abandonment issues. And, I really began to wonder, where I come from. I don't know anyone in my bloodline past my mother, and I don't know my father's side, and so it really forced me to really, really, put my identity in God. Once I began to know what I meant to God and how He sees me and how much I mean to Him, that's when I then began to feel a sense of belonging and family. But I've always grew up just not, having a family, a big family. So I would have these friends, and I would go to their houses for holidays, and I would love on their mothers and their dads and their cousins. Their cousins became my cousins, and so but there was always this sense of a disconnect. I didn't really know where I come from. So that's what that looked like growing up for me. And it really didn't hit me until maybe like my early 20s. So just growing up as a teenager in foster care, God really covered my mind during that time. I didn't fall into any depression or loneliness or anything like that. Like I've always had, people around and family and connections just growing up. But in those early 20s, man, that's when it really starts to hit me like, girl, you don't know, the enemy comes in and he's like, you don't know where you come from. And, just all these negative thoughts, just kind of slipped in. But again, like I said, I always had a church home. So I was always, around community. And I really learned how God viewed me. And that's such a beautiful thing. I'm God's daughter. He loves me. He knew me before I was created in the womb. He has an amazing plan for me. He created me unique, fearfully and wonderfully made, and so that makes me feel so good. I know that, I come straight from God. So, yeah.
Gosh, I'm gonna ask you later to do something regarding people who might have come from a similar background and still can't get over it. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, let me go to Mommy Rise. Mommy Rise, can you
Hey,
hear us?
I can. I hear a little
Good,
echoing. I
great.
hear a little echoing here, but you know what? I'm going to stay here for the hall and whatever this looks like. I'm going to stand against the opposition, right? Can you all
Yes,
hear me good?
yes, yes, yes. You've been an overcomer. When I was looking at your story and I thought, God, I said, God, you gotta forgive me because I complain too much. I said, I complain too much. I'm not supposed to complain. When I read Mama's story, I'm not gonna complain. Mama,
Yeah.
I want you to take us to your story because there's so many things and so many lessons to be learned in the story. And when people read it, they will want to know if you're actually human, if you're still alive in your minds and your everything is in motion. They would tend to think that you gotta be crazy in your mind walking the streets, even though you might have come out of it, or you might have just be sitting in a rocking chair looking through some window because you can't talk, your brains is done. But when you read a story and then you see you physically, you know that there is a God. There is a God.
Yes, yes.
You said, well, allow me to help you. There is hope. There is no time, no distance, no limitations when it comes to God, and there is nothing too hard for Him. There's a song that says, if He asks to reach way down, Jesus will pick you up. Let me say it this way: Jesus will pick you out and up. And if you listen to us, Mommy's story, Mommy Carolyn Rice Smith story is out of bondage. Could you tell us, Mama, why would you name the chapter Out of Bondage? What is that all about?
Well, first of all, let me just say that let me just go here quickly for a moment. Just thinking of the word opposition, things that we can go through in life and those things that look like they're destined to just hold you locked in, that looks like that you can't come out. For instance, that's just like being able to come on to this platform. I'm forever grateful for the platform and for Dr. Loretta Rice Barnes, my daughter, for just opening up the platform for many ladies to come in to share their stories. But that word opposition, and from where I come from, even that word out of bondage, stuck in a place, and it can be fearful and look like when there's no hope that, you can get lost in the trenches. That's like, for instance, as I was getting ready to say, with even coming on this platform. And from where I come from, I mean, sitting in a place that looks like, you got something going on, but it's really not, or being fearful to be able to come into new places and spaces. For instance, just like this, with the opposition that I've got on, several different things just in this place, even through my Pink Stilettos, and the technical difficulties that I've had just being able to show up to share something that at a point in my life maybe I wouldn't have done. Like getting on the day, I could have felt like, well, this is just difficult. It won't let me in. It just not. But I was determined today that I was not going to be defeated by the enemy. The opposition of not being able to let me in to share my story, I'm like, I'm going to be determined no matter what it looks like. So out of bondage, it came from a place, a time in my life that God showed up for me. I've been stuck in that place for 20 years. And bondage, it's a place that wants to steal. I shared some of that in my chapter. It wants to steal you from being you, and bondage so deep that it looks like there's no way out, there's no hope. Even when people can see you and know you from where you started from, and everybody is not for you. Everybody don't want to see you succeed. Some people would rather be able to say, I told you so, just so they can get some gratification in it. But being in bondage, it's a terrible place. But I stand to tell people through my story that it's not the end. And when you have people that can see beyond where you are, see beyond where you are, to believe, have hope in that word called love, it will keep them it will keep them in a place for you when you can't even do it for yourself, out of bondage. But to come out from a place that you have been for so long, dark places, and places that you can believe, hey, the enemy trick you in a place, because some things we intentionally do it. We're drawn to it. We're addicted to it. The flesh, the sin nature in the flesh, and it gets good to us. But in that place called bondage, I tell people it's a way out. It's a little gleaming light in every dark place. I don't care how deep, I don't care how bad, there is a gleaming light in every dark place. How do I know? Because in the beginning, the word of God says that the earth was void. But what was there? The light was there all the time. And so there is something in the place of bondage that, that through the prayers of people that are praying for you, or even somewhere on the inside, because a lot of times, depending on what bondage is, and it comes in many forms, depending on what that bondage is, it can look like they don't want to do, they don't want to become. But it's not the truth, because you can be so embedded in bondage and stuck there. And it doesn't mean that you don't want to come out. And a lot of times, because people have been there for a long time, people will say those things. They don't want to change. But I beg to differ. And I stand to tell somebody that's not the truth, because it's something on the inside that no matter what, look, just breathe a little bit. Somebody say something to me. You hear me? Fan that little bit of something to make me believe, an encouraging word when I can't believe. But if you speak it enough, and if you say it enough, somewhere along the way, something gonna take root. Out of bondage, you can be free. You don't have to stay there. Believe it, or have somebody that can believe it for you, that can stand there with you, even if it's from a distance, but out of bondage. Yeah.
My God. I'm going to read this part, Mama.
Hmm.
It says, can I give you hope? But how about a nugget? Love and prayer unconditionally are power to the soul. You use that statement and you're talking about bondage at the same time.
Hmm.
How someone that is in bondage for 20 years of drug addiction speak this word that this was responsible for bringing you out of your place, love and prayer. Could you take us back and explain to us what do you mean?
Because love, listen, we can love in the place of bondage. Let me go to mine again, because it was drug addiction. And being bound to drugs can be an ugly place because you see different things that are being done, and um, people speak to that place because you're there. You want to be there. You don't want to come out. But the word love, when you can love unconditionally beyond what you see, it'll speak hope. It'll keep you in the game. But you gotta love enough. So that word love was one of the things that was still administered to me even in my dark place. To love me beyond what you saw, but to believe what you hoped for me. Love will take you there, will make you not throw in the towel when everything else look crazy. So through love and prayer, because the word of God talks about prayer. Prayers of the righteous avail it much. And when you put them together, when you feel like you want to throw in the towel, it'll keep you in the game. So it was love. Those that love me, because again, and I say that to people because we see what people do and it's reality. People say seeing is believing. And it does speak to a truth. But you gotta go underneath to love beyond what you see. And they loved me enough. Even though I know in my family it hurted them, but they loved me enough to see something beyond. Because I see again in the world of addiction, for some it can get so gruesome to people will count you out. And what you're doing is enough to discourage them to make them want to throw in the towel because it's actuality of what they see. But can you love me enough and hold on and pray through and pray forward the transformation comes forward? So that word in loving me to see me beyond where I was powerful. Love was the thing that brought me back. Prayer keep you there. We can pray and say, well, God, when you gonna do it? When you gonna do it? When you gonna do it? But you got to believe in the power of prayer beyond what you see, because everything doesn't happen overnight. 20 years is a long time. It's a long time, and enough time for people to throw in the towel, write you off, even family, because what you do can hurt and go so deep. And it's what you see. And when you've been seeing it for a long time, it can tend to make you want to lose hope. But that unconditional love, I love you because of who you are. That's what makes the difference. I love you because of who you are and not because of what you're doing. It's a lifesaver. It'll keep you there. When the noise get in your ears or people go to talking against the things that people do. I love you enough to say, you know what? I don't care. I love you enough to stay there. The transformation happens. It happened, y'all. Many people counted me out, but God counted me in. But I had a praying family that prayed for me. And I'm not saying that they didn't get discouraged along the way. I'm not saying that they didn't get hurt. They did. I'm not saying that they didn't cry tears. I'm not saying that they didn't get disappointed. They did. But love kept them there. But one of the things that in that for me, I say to people, and it's not easy for everybody to do it. In that place, they never judged me. Like people see you do a thing and say, well, you know what, you just doing this, you doing that. They didn't do that to me. They walked through my process. They hurt, they cried, with shame, embarrassment, I'm sure, all in the same time. But they never bashed me to say, look at you, what you doing. Look at this and look at that. They never did that. And that was huge. And what I've discovered, even in my years and even seeing many bound, many will get caught up in the time and the pain of what they see, and words will come from their mouth. But I never got that. I never got it. And I thank God, because that was priceless enough to keep the love to be nurtured. Yeah. Love and prayer. That's the nugget. To hold on to the love when you see the ugly, no matter what, that you can believe that God can, He will. And guess what? For me, He did. There were many in my process that, was in my circle that they didn't make it out. They died in the process. Some of them to cancer, that word cancer, because it runs deep in me there. They got lost in the process. They didn't make it out. But God graced me to be able to come through that process and be able to tell somebody that everybody don't get lost. And if you don't get lost, you gotta open up your mouth and tell somebody. You know what? We say yes to God. And He reminded me, because listen, y'all, where I talk about out of bondage, it wasn't easy, But even coming out, because I've been out a while, y'all, but even coming out, because I stayed in a place, I lived some life, I did some things. It wasn't all crazy, but it stole a lot of my life that who I could become, I didn't. And we all know that word fear, being fearful to walk into the places that you've never been, fear can cripple you. So, I'm like, but I remember, and God just reminded me even the other day, because even getting here, the enemy, like, you ain't did that before. You're amongst people. Look at what they're doing. You don't qualify. The enemy never stops. You're right, Taylor. He never stops. He keeps talking, but there's got to be that knowing of that voice on the inside of you. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to show up. You hear me? But to come to this place, I'm like, I'm going to show up. But God said, listen, let me tell you something. He said, you said yes to me, right? I say, God, I said yes. So he reminded me this the other day. So your yes to being able to step out for me doesn't look like the things that you just want to do. It's those uncomfortable places. It's Gale even showing up here on Let the Scribes Speak, because it's new places, it's new things. But guess what, y'all? I'm in it. I got a wind. God breathed on me the other day. You hear me? Even the more. And that's what coming out of bondage is, because it's like layers, right? It's like an onion. I heard it said that way. You got to peel this and get to that. It's layers and walking through. But I'm here, y'all. I'm here. And I'm taking it by force. I will not let the enemy steal my story, because somebody needs to know that place that they're in, they ain't got to be there. And it's somebody that believe in you. So I'm talking to somebody today. You hear me? There's somebody. I want you to know that I believe in you. You hear me? I believe in you because somebody believed in me, but I know it's something on the inside. And when people say you don't want to come out, it is. But you to cover it up and cover it up and cover it up. But something somewhere will cause an opening to come forth and let the light shine through. Yeah, out of bondage. Yeah.
Sorry.
I can
Out of
hear you
bondage.
now. I don't know what happened.
Out of bondage. Out of
Okay, there
bondage.
you
If you're
go.
joining us on Let the Scribe Speak, I'm talking with my beautiful friends. Some of my sisters, we have come together and we had written this book that's called, sorry if I'm out of it, this book that is called My Pink Stilitoes. And we want to give honor to Apostle Loretta Rice. Our mama was just telling our story that is responsible for putting this together. And she always likes to say from 5 continents: Asia, Africa, Europe, North America. She talks about the continents that have come together to pen this book. These stories, I'm telling you, you might have had to read 17 books to get these stories, but you
Yeah.
got 17 stories in one book. And when they are so juicy that as soon as you bite one and you think, okay, the story is over, then
Yeah.
you get another one. So you just cry from the other one. The next one makes you laugh. The next one gets you hungry. You got to go get some water or something to eat. And then you come back, you cry again. My God. I said, what a roller coaster, God, with a pink studded toes. I said, how can I walk with a pink studded toes with so much roller coaster stories inside? You know? But it shows the faithfulness of God. Or he takes us all through different processes and he brings us. Mom, I'm going to go back to you. You talked about in the book being in the place for 20 years and that it was love and prayer, those two gadgets, those two little things that were responsible for bringing you out. Tell me, tell us, while you were in that place of addiction, tell me one of the things you remember that you long for. In that place, one thing that you imagined, one thing that you wanted, one thing that motivated you to bring you to the place that you're in now, where from 20 years of addiction, now you are free by the power of God. What kept you through that process? I don't know. I've never really been addicted. So I'm asking you because people come to me all the time that are addicted. And sometimes I try to understand, what do I say to them? What do I say to them to let them know that there's a place other than this place and that I really want them to be out of that place? What brought you from the place of 20 years of addiction, apart from the love and prayer? I'm talking about you now, to be in the place of victory where you stand right now. What was that thing? I know there might have been many things, but one thing that you could remember. It could have been a vision. It could have been a thought. It could have been an imagination. It could have been a desire. What was it?
I think I would say to be able to find me. I knew that there was a me that didn't look like what I looked like. I knew that there was, but I have to go back to that word love because there's other parts that speaks to love. You know, the depletion of love, the uh, nurturing part of love, that something you desire that maybe you didn't get, and you know, love is our existence. You know, but knowing that there was a part of me that wanted to become, and it wasn't what I was seeing. I often said a lot of times along the way that one day I would be free.
Mm,
I always had in my mind that I always wanted to be delivered, but the addiction in going through it, but it goes back to, everybody have a process. And in God's timing, nothing just happened. God says what you said, Taylor, before God said he formed us in our mother's womb, he knew us. And he knew the process. He knew the things that we will go through that would make us. When what doesn't make sense to people. And so even when we talk about rejection, even when we talk about not receiving love, God, when he created us, knew that these are the things that would make us become, that would cause us to want to desire. And that's what it was for me because I saw who I wasn't, but I knew that there was another me. And I wanted to get to that me. I was eluded to what the enemy had me buying into the lies of different things. For instance, in my addiction, my children and family, they never saw me get high. They never saw me get high in all the time of my addiction. And one of the things that the enemy uh, had me deceived by was as long as they didn't get a chance to see me now, I knew that there was some embarrassment. I knew that there were things that they knew, but they never saw me get high. Like, you see many see it don't matter what, they never saw me get high. And so the enemy had my mindset, like, as long as they didn't see me, I was under the umbrella of, it was okay. Because they didn't get a chance to see that part. But it was the biggest lie. And when the lie became exposed, that's when that part that talks about the love came forth, that the love stirred up in me so until it hurted. And it was pain. The pain of feeling what I didn't know I had truly caused just overflowed in me so until the love began to matter. So that's why I can't take away the word love because it was the love all the way around. To love myself, to find me so that I could become what I didn't know I could become. So it was to find me. And I'm still finding me. I'm still coming out of places of bondage right now today. I'm still coming out. It's like that onion, those layers that I'm still finding me. Because all of those years it took from me uh what I didn't know I could have or who I knew that I could become. And so now I stand in a place to say, well, you know what? Well, let me go. But I just told y'all, I just got this burst of something because see, the enemy speaks, he does, right? To keep you in this place in your thoughts and all of this. But I just got this burst of something that says, you know what? You can't keep me here. So now I'm coming out again. I'm coming out. I'm coming for everything that the enemy stole, not just only in me, but to those that doubt themselves. No matter what that form of bondage is, listen, you too is somebody else that you haven't seen right here. That man in the mirror, find it because there's more to who you think you are out of bondage. I'm ready, y'all. Gale,
I,
I thank you for your platform because it has just, whew, I done broke them all.
woo,
And y'all stories, listen. And we all have said, listen, when you read it, when Dr. Loretta writes, look, that change agent, that heart for people that want to see people free, that want to see them thrive to become the leader that's in her, that want to see the leader in other people to become. And just all of the passion that she has. You know what? I want you to become who I know that you can be. But everybody's story, and it wasn't true. When she told us, she said, when I sat down and I cried and I laughed, and I know, and I know we all, when she said it was like, okay, but everybody that reads it will share the same testimony. It is. And you all's story impacted my life. And I'm like, oh Lord, and he took me back through some places to cause me to help me to listen, come out of bondage even the more. You know how God will use everything to propel us to the next level. I love my sisters. Listen, I don't have a sister. When I had my daughter, Dr. Loretta Bryce Barnes, early, my mother told her, I said, Mom, I said, you had brothers to my brothers. You didn't have me a sister. And so when I had her young, and she told me, she said, well, that have to be your sister. By surprise when it was, because I was so young. Yeah, it was a surprise to her too. But I have sisters now. God rest my mother's soul in heaven. I say, Mama, look, I got some sisters. Look, and he gave me, oh my God, look how many he gave me at one time. You tell her, Mama, I want a sister too. But he gave me, my God, so many amazing sisters from all across the globe. I love y'all. Y'all stories have impacted my life.
Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Mom. There's none that is better than the other, really. They just have the different doses of lessons to be learned. You know, I hope I can finish this broadcast. But Dawn, I just want to go back to you on your story, and the everlasting aftershocks of an earthquake, and you're talking about kindness. I want to ask you a question. What has that done for you? What has that done for you? If you're joining us, before you answer, if you're joining us, we are here, we're talking about this book, My Pink Stilitoes, and where the visionary is Dr. Loretta Rice Barnes, and there are 17 scribes, 17 authors, 17 contributors to this book. We will tell you how to get a copy just after, not long from now. So we are four of us here. We are talking about our chapter. I haven't even spoken about mine because I can't even really talk about mine right now. But we're talking to Dawn, we're talking to Mama, and we are talking to
Taylor.
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 You gotta remember.
I'll
You gotta remember the name and
Yeah.
Taylor about their contributions. So I want to go now to Dawn, and I thank you for joining. Oh yes, I hope you're being blessed. Bless you. Yeah, I want to go back to you, Dawn, and like the question I was asking, what has your story done for you? What have your story that you have written done for you? Tell me about that. I want to know what that feels like.
Oh gosh, just getting to share that story. Well, first of all, after Mom spoke, like I don't even know that I can talk. I was crying. It I just like, I have a family of people that with tremendous love. Garrison's little daughter, I know her now. Writing this story, being able to share that with other people, it's a gift for me to be able to. I always tell people, like, I don't teach anybody anything, not even my kids. All I do is I live the best me I can live, and by example, I show people a way. I can't tell you you need to like open up your house and help people and offer them food or help a stranger. But if I am that person, if I show up as that person, then other people get to see like a different way of being, perhaps. And so, it is this story being in this book, this collaboration with all of you beautiful women. This has been such an amazing experience. And again, now I have more family, even more family around the world. And this is just amazing. So Loretta, if and when you watch this, thank you so much for putting it together, for being the visionary behind it. And I'm just grateful to be part of all of this.
Just grateful to be a part of all of this. My Pink Stilitoes. So you let me just block out my face so you would see what this looks like. It's a book with the collaborators of 17 scribes and authors around the different continents of the earth. They're different time zones, so we can't have them all on one program. Hopefully we'll get a few others next week where I bring another 4 on back on next week's program until we get to speak to each and every one of them. And their faces are there on the cover of the book. 17 authors, 17 scribes around the world, from Asia and Africa and North America and Europe, representing women all over the globes with different issues, different situations, different triumphs, different victories, different metamorphoses, oh my Lord, different experiences of help and joy. But what I love about it all, that each and every person, that when you read their story, there is a lining, a silver lining at the end of it. We all came out looking good, smelling good, feeling good. And that's a good thing about God. He always brings us victorious, and our processes might not always be the same, but there is something that comes out of it. So my final question to Taylor, about this metamorphosis, because this got me. It because I had to preach one day, I think it was last year, to on a weekend at a women's pastors, ministers, wives convention. And that's the story the Lord gave me about the metamorphosis of a butterfly. So I had this butterfly YouTube story coming up before I brought my message. So when I saw the metamorphosis of the story, I was like, oh my God, let me see what she'd written. And it is so profound that people don't take the time to allow the metamorphosis to occur. They jump out or they try to ask for help. Flap my wings for me. Get me out of this lava. Borrow all. I want to see what's happening on the outside. There is no patience to go through your process. When I listened to your story, I looked at read your story, and then to the person who you are now, your mom being found in a dumpster. All right. Yes, you guys listening. Yes, she was found in a dumpster, a mother. And then she doesn't know who her father is, and she didn't have a sense of belonging. She doesn't know who her family members are, because the mother don't know who she is or who she was. All right. But then now we're going to talk about that metamorphosis. How important it is that we allow ourselves to go through our own metamorphosis. When you look at your own life, tell me about that.
Oh, it is so important to let go. I remember in that process when God was trying to break me down, and get all of that gunk out of me. I fought. I fought. It cost me time. It cost me more embarrassment. I was getting into business deals and friendships and relationships with people that, I shouldn't have gotten into relationships and business relationships with. And it caused me heartache and pain. And I'm like, I really need to sit back and allow God to do what he's going to do on the inside of me. You can't run from it. You cannot run from it. Eventually it's going to happen. And it's painful. It hurts. When God broke me down, he literally, I feel like he took everything from me. I feel like I wasn't operating in motherhood anymore. I wasn't in school. I wasn't serving as a minister. I feel like I lost everything, but he really, really, really wanted me to get to a place to where he understood, that I understood and knew who I was in him, I had to put him first. I had little scripture on the inside of me. I talk about that in my story about how, I was literally sitting in a jail cell, and I couldn't bring up any
I was
scripture.
going to ask that.
I didn't have anything stored in my heart, I was doing, and I thought that my works were really going to get me into heaven. And again, sometimes we don't know that we're sick. We don't know. I had no idea. I was still a babe in Christ, and I just gotten into this church world. And so I'm doing all great things. I'm serving, I'm showing up. But I was going to hell. Literally, I had no scripture. I didn't really have a relationship with God, and he had to literally break me down, and it's painful. And when he's building you up, it's uncomfortable. I felt like I didn't belong. I struggled with some imposter syndrome. I wondered if I was doing things right. Am I saying things right? Because I knew that what I just come from, God breaking me down, was so painful. It was so painful. And so I just kind of froze, And so, now I'm getting into this place to where I'm breaking out. That's what this book has really done for me. I'm able to share my story, I have courage. I got into a place to where I didn't want to share. I didn't want to talk about anything. I'm like, I'm just going to work with my head down and I'm just going to do what God has called me to do. And that's it. But now God is really getting me to the place to where, I can share my story. I'm excited about encouraging others and leading others to Christ and building this relationship and talking about who I am and where I've come from. So I'm really excited about this place that I'm in now. Still trying to catch my footing. I'm trying to fly and, kind of catching some turbulence, but I'm making it. I'm breaking through. I'm pressing forward. So I'm really excited about. I'm grateful to have this opportunity to be an author in my Pink Stilitoes. It's done a lot for me so far.
Just before we go, and as we wrap up, I'm going to ask us all to think about it. If somebody turns out, I'm going to twist it around. If somebody turns out in your jurisdiction, on your doorstep, in your place of influence, and the tailor, the person might have a similar situation, and they said, based on what you said in the book, I don't see my face needs to emerge. I don't think my story needs to emerge. I don't think I need an artist. As a butterfly, I'm going to stay in my cocoon.
Yes.
What would you say to that person?
I would say break out. God has so many great things in store for you. He wants to literally use your life to bring him glory. He wants to use your life to help other people become free. I just want to encourage them. Like, sometimes we're standing, I was explaining to one of my friends, it felt like I was standing in a hallway recently. I know I'm not going back through that door. That's not what I want. I've gained the strength and the courage to not go back, but I'm fearful of what's in front of me. I don't know what's on the other side of that, that door. I don't know what obstacles I may face. I don't know if I can handle, what's on the other side, but you've come way too far. You've cried, you've gone through way too much to not break free, to not have this grand emerging. You deserve it. I think that sometimes we feel like we don't deserve it, or, we want to be humble. And of course we want to be humble, but be grateful, be thankful, know that you're blessed, know that you're called by God, know that he has you as long as you stay in tune with him, catch that rhythm of God's flow. So I would encourage them like, hey, it's all or nothing. You went through so much, surely you can handle some growing pains. Surely you can handle what's next, Just think about the pain that, we've already experienced and dealt with. In my opinion, man, they got to be the worst. What I've been through has to be the worst. So, surely I can handle what's to come. And one of my favorite pastors, Pastor Daphne Rice Bruce, she told me, I think last year, she just said, Taylor, just go for it. If you miss, you miss. And so I'm like, okay, I'm just going to do what I'm going to do. And if I miss, I'll just pick myself back up. I'm resilient. I'll dust myself back off and I'll try again. If I have to apologize, I will. If I need to clean up a little mess, I will. But at least I know I tried, So yeah, just go for it.
Oh, hallelujah. Mom, I want to take you back into a dark place. Is she gone? Mom, you there?
I'm here.
Yeah, I want to take you back to that dark place. When you look down into that dark hole where you dwell with a lot of people like yourself, you said some of them have died. You said some of them have died, some of them from cancer and different other things. With what you know now, what would you want to say to somebody in that hole? in that dark, drug addicted hole, in that hole of hopelessness, in that hope of this, that hole of despair and pain. Based on your story, based on what you have written, what would you want to say to them? If you are on the outside, how would you want to meet them in the inside?
I believe that my words would be to them to see themselves beyond what they see. Because the enemy always taunts us with what's before, those things that will, as the word say, kill, steal, and destroy. But to see themselves believe in themselves, to trust that what's on the inner part of them, because there's something on the inner part of us, outside of the negative, the ugly, there's a place that really wants to believe in us in spite of. And I would say to them, nurture them. Nurture that seed. Nurture it if nobody else does. Nurture that inner something that they want to see, that they want to become. Because it's there. Because when we can begin to start dismantle the lies of the enemy and tap into what we really want, that the people may not believe in. There's something on the inside that's been covered up by whatever lie, whatever pain, rejection, whatever it looks like. There's a true sense, a seed there that was before anything contaminated it. And it can breathe and it can live. Transparency. I would say to them, because a lot of times the enemy wants us, like I say, to look at our bad and our negative and hear the chatter and noise around us. But everybody got something, and we tend sometimes to sit in the place and judge ourselves and look out at people like they're okay. But everybody has something that they have to break free from, or they want to be free from. It's there. Everybody has something. So stop condemning yourself. Stop condemning yourself. Because the truth of the matter is, the things that people say that can keep us down when they're speaking to the truth. Because there's a truth that has a negative impact because it's true. Of bad things that have happened, occurred, and done. It's
Yeah.
truth in it. And the enemy
Yes.
uses that truth to kill us. But
Yes.
everybody has something. Go
Yes.
beyond what people say. Sit in the space to feed your own seed. Transparency really is the key to deliverance, because you can be delivered from that cell. You can be delivered from that dark place. You can breathe upon it yourself. I talked about that transparency is the key to deliverance.
Yeah.
Because when I can get to the place to say, you know what, I might have did this and I might have did that, but it's something in me that really chose not to want to be or do, there's life in that place. A
Yes.
challenge that you can silence the mouth of the enemy. Because
Yes.
everybody that did something that we can get into their spaces and their places, oh, they'll turn their face.
Yes.
But focus on yourself. Transparency is the key to the lift. Tell that story, because it's really
Amen.
what shuts the enemy's mouth. Transparency.
Amen. Transparency.
I wrote a scripture. I referred
Trans-
to a scripture in Galatians 4:4. But when the set time had fully come, because there's a set time, y'all. When the set time had fully come, listen, there's a set time. Breathe upon it, believe it, and come out. Because look, we're in every dark place. It's a little gleaming light. Follow the light. That's the passion that's on the inside. It'll set you free. Listen,
Amen.
believe, tell yourself. Sometimes we gotta tell ourselves, self, this ain't what it do. I knew something. Listen, there was this song that used to play, this gospel song. And the lyrics, I forgot the name of, but the lyrics I would say, the word says, and it was singing the song "Worship Unto the Lord." He said, "You said you deliver me, and that's what I believe. And I would hear so many songs, but that song spoke to me because it was something on the inside of me that wanted to be free. And I was like, God, you said you would deliver me. I once would say, you know, one day I'm gonna be free. One day I'm gonna be free.
Amen.
But listen, I wanted to be free, but something had to happen to snatch me there. And listen, God has that something in your life that'll snatch you from it if you turn a deaf ear to the end. Come on out of that place.
Amen.
I believe in you. We
Thank
believe in you because you can do it. It's your time to
Amen.
shine. Listen, my Pink Stilettos. I think Dr. Barnes that she heard from God to do the collaboration to bring us all together. The meaning of pink, love, compassion. Listen, it even got a little something in it that deals with the pain, it deals with the joy. But when it all come together, y'all, it's a breaking point. When it all comes together. Listen, my pink stilettos, when I think of my pink stilettos, listen, the stilettos, that's that heel, right? Look, rise on up. Put on your pink stilettos. Look, rise on up and
Amen.
walk it out. Those the shoes will walk
Amen.
you into your destiny. Come on
Amen.
out, y'all. Let's do this. And we here for you. If you ain't got somebody to speak to, hey, hit us up. Y'all can find us. My Pink Stilettos Global. We went
Amen.
global, y'all. And God said your
Yes.
story is going to touch lives not just where you are, but somebody got to hear your story. Get free,
Yes.
y'all. My Pink Stilettos. This is the sisterhood of sisters. Dr. Loretta Rice Barnes, you rock. You keep hearing from God. Gale, you keep, yes, that's why you had to be here. And all of the global ambassadors, listen, the platform that God say, I'll use your platform and I'll use your story because it was your story that got y'all here to open up the platform for others to come. My Pink Stilettos, we rock, y'all.
Thank you,
Global,
Mom.
international.
Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Mom. This is we're getting ready to close today. Is there anything else you wanted to say, Dawn, as we go?
Just thank you so much for having me on your program, and it's such a blessing to be part of this amazing group of sisters, this sisterhood. And I'm so distracted because there's a baby.
Yes, kind of cute, you know.
So
Hi.
cute.
Kinda cute. He's already a film star for Jesus. He's already a film star. Yes. You're so cutie boy. It's a boy? And his name?
Yes, he's a boy. His name is Elam.
Hello.
Say
Hello.
hi.
Hi, hi, hi.
Hi, hi,
You're up too
hi.
early. You're up too early. Okay, you're
Okay,
welcome,
you're
Dawn.
welcome, Dawn.
Thank you, Taylor. Thank you, Mom Carolyn. It's been a blessing and an honor to have you all on the Let the Scribe Speak. And I'm hoping that I get my other sisters, because we are only 4 from 17 of us. And I'm hoping that every now and then 4 of us can just pop on maybe next week from a different zone and begin to share this story. I just want you to pop up, just put on your website so I can put it up where people can actually purchase the book. Mom, do so as well, Dawn, and then I'm going to beam it up and give people an opportunity. If you're in Europe or in the Netherlands and you're looking to have a copy, I didn't get to share my story, just inbox me and I'll get you a copy. Inbox me on my Facebook page and I'll get you a copy. If you're in Europe or the Netherlands, it's easier. My sisters are all the way in different cities in the nation of America. So they will put up that information. Okay. But they can get it on your Facebook. If they can, just send me that link. I'll put it up as well. You can, if you're looking, you can go on this is Mom's website as well. Coach Taylor. Okay. You can get CoachTaylor.com. And you can purchase that you can get it if you're in the US or other parts of the world. You can just go on www.coachtaylor.com. You can go on Dawn's Facebook page as well, and you can send her an inbox. Okay, bondage. This Mom. You can send her an inbox on our Dawn Facebook page, and she would get you a copy if you want to purchase. And Mom is also, you can go on Mom's www.outofbondage, www.outofbondage.org. Sorry. out of bondage.org, and you can purchase a copy of that book there as well. You can get it, if, as I said, if you're in the Netherlands or if you're in Europe, you can just inbox me, and it's easy to get it from this part of the world. They're all the way in America, in different cities, and America is quite big. So you can contact them as well. These are some of the websites, or you can get them on their Facebook pages. Bless you, Nikki, on their Facebook page. This is a powerful book. My Pink Stilitoes. 17 different people. 17 different people from around the world giving these stories are in this book. And if you're saying, how do I get a copy? I place the information after. I will put it up after for you. This is what it looks like. 17 women from around the world, 4 different continents, Europe, Asia, North America, and Africa, telling their stories of victory, of joy, of triumphs from different adversaries and different situations. And we give credit to the visionary who have put this all together, Dr. Loretta Barnes. She plays this all together, and we give credit and honor to her for bringing us together from different parts of the world to pen My Pink Stilitoes. I want to say once again, thank you, Taylor. It's very early in the morning where you are. Dawn as well, thank you for being online. Mommy Carlin Rice Smith, it is a pleasure having you all. Love you guys, and hope to see you back again. Oh, again on my Let Us Scribe Speak. And as we go out, I will put all the information. May you guys have a blissful day, rejoicing in your victory. See you another time, and bye. Okay, I'll be going to Africa. Yes, Taylor. Yes, I'll be fine. Yes. It's going to be a journey. I can't wait for this pandemic to be over so that I can be able to be with my friends and my sisters. Thank you, Nikki. Thank you, all you beautiful people. Griselando, thank you for being online. Sonia, and for sharing as well. Jazzy, Peter. It's a pleasure to have you all online today, and for sharing, Bianca, and for just reaching out. Some people are online, but they don't say anything, but you guys have been a blissful bunch. Once again, have a great day, wherever you might find yourself around the world. This is Pastor Gale and my beautiful sisters, as we say goodbye on the platform Let Us Scribe Speak, as we were discussing no other but our special book, My Pink Stilitoes. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.